January 25th meeting to order. We start every meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Snow.
Here.
Vice Chair Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Tippett.
Here.
Commissioner Leckie.
Present.
Commissioner Erickson.
Here.
Commissioner Benson.
Here.
Commissioner Kasparian.
Here.
All right, next minutes. Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes?
Candy.
Yes, I did.
I'm always counting on you for that.
All right, minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Do we need another roll call? No. All right. Our first public hearing tonight is Kyle Zach and Brian Anderson request final subdivision approval for a two-lot subdivision located at 653 West 3rd Avenue in the single-family residential 2 FS2 zone. And who is presenting on that? Hello.
Okay. All right, this application is very straightforward. This is kind of just over behind where we are currently in our SF2 zone. So it is just a two-lot subdivision split. Staff found that it met everything that code needed it to for lot and development standards. So we feel comfortable, and the motion has remained the same as included in your staff report.
So it looks like the existing home is remaining?
I don't believe that's the plan,
Okay,
but the applicant should be here. He can answer.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't know if I was supposed to come up.
Yeah, do you want to come up? Yeah. State your name and...
My name's Kyle Zag. We are keeping the existing home there, yes.
That's the one to the west?
To the west, correct,
Okay.
yep.
And then you'll build another one on the east side of it?
That is correct, yep.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, thank you.
Cool, thanks, guys.
Want to open the public hearing?
I make a motion, we open the public hearing?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded.
Sounds like it's open to me.
It's open.
So is this open to where I can ask questions?
Yes, you
Yeah,
just need to come
yep,
up.
come on up.
Come up and state your name.
Yeah, if anybody has any comments, they just come up to the pulpit, state your name, and then,
So this is going to be just
Can we get your name, sorry?
Phil Meekum.
Okay.
It's going to be just divided and another home put on the property, is that it?
yes.
Not commercial or
Nope.
anything of that nature?
No, single-family residence.
Okay. I own the property just behind that, so it's of interest to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is in a single-family
Yep.
zone, so it has to
Residential.
remain a single-family residence.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else? Want to close it for us?
I move that we close the public hearing portion.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
Moved and seconded.
Chair Snow.
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie.
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Close the public hearing.
That was to close the public hearing.
Oh, let's make a motion.
I'll make a motion. I move that we recommend approval of the final subdivision located at 653 West 3rd Avenue with the findings noted in the staff report.
Second?
Been moved and seconded?
Chair Snow.
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie.
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Does that go to council?
Yep.
Okay. Congrats.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Was that painful enough for you?
Yep.
They're not always like this, but
That one was easy.
Oh, I'm going to hack that. All right.
Just apologize.
Yeah, second up, and I apologize on this. Jacob Ballstedt request amendments for the expansion of the Mills project These include an amended large-scale master plan and conditional use permit in conjunction with a rezone request, small-scale master plan and preliminary subdivision located at 208 to 272 East, 80th South, and 8082 to 8060 South, 300 East, in the SF-1 AO and RM12 zone.
Okay.
That's a mouthful.
I think it sounds a lot hairier than it really is, so I'll try to make it as clear as I can. One thing to note, Garrett has and Aaron have both corrected me. I included the development agreement in your packet, but that is actually not for you to review tonight, so just council will do that. So we won't need to make a motion, and we have updated the motions that were included in your packet, so we'll walk you through those at the end of the presentation. Yes, but this is for the Mills project, so this might sound familiar to some of you over off 80th South. I think it was a large project a couple years ago. This kind of outlines the lighter yellow is their phase 2, which was already contemplated when phase 1 came through, and then phase 3 is just the new portion that has since been acquired. So phase 3 is this portion highlighted. That's the only thing that is being rezoned tonight, and it's being proposed to match the rest of the Mills project in the RM12 zone. Staff feels comfortable with that to match the project. Site plans for phase 2 and 3 meet all of the large-scale requirements and requirements of the development agreement that they already had in place. So the amendments are just to add the new land and make that comprehensive for the whole Midvale Mills project as a whole. The applicant is here. I'll maybe let him present or say anything before we go through motions, but there are separate motions for each of these. And yeah, we can go through it at that point.
Okay. Thanks. The applicant would like to come up.
I'm Jacob Ballstead with Garbett Homes. Thanks for having us tonight, Commission.
Thanks for coming.
It's good to be here. So you guys have probably seen our Mills subdivision. The phase 1's been built, or the roads have been in. We have many homes under construction, models done. If you haven't been through the model, I encourage you to go check it out. We've been working on trying to acquire these additional properties to the west. We were able to achieve that this last year, and are now making an application to extend the original approval of the 72 lots that have been approved. Mimics the same zone, has the same requirements. We're using the same development agreement. It's just really expanding the geographical area.
How many lots are you adding?
11.
Okay.
So I think it's a nice element to the neighborhood, extends what we're doing. We had a neighborhood meeting last night. In the past, when this project was first approved, I didn't do the approvals, but there was some oppositions to some of the surrounding neighbors to the south and to the west, and they were concerned about how impacts and density and things of that nature. And so I sent out a notice. We had a neighborhood meeting, and I think it was really productive. And in the planning, I intentionally made efforts to try to soften the development against the neighbors to the west. If you look at the layout, I intentionally located the open space against our shared property line, and tried to soften it the best we could. I think overall the meeting was really positive. There are some concerns, and maybe some folks here that can express it. From what I experienced last night, it wasn't regarding the development; it was regarding the activation of the common space, and I have planned there at pickleball courts that there were some concerns about. But overall, the meeting was very positive, I think. I think this is a great continuation of what we're doing. I think this provides nice single-family housing stock to the city of Midvale. It's pretty unique to have a community this size, a new community in Midvale, in any infill area, and it creates a lot of stability. I think it creates staying power for the people who live there, and we're excited to be part of it. So thank you for considering it tonight.
Is it going to be similar house plans?
Yeah, same house plans.
Okay.
The development agreement, which was approved, specifies house plans, elevations, materials, and all that will transfer over directly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
I'm grateful that you took in the neighbors' input.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, we'll open the public hearing.
I move that we open it to a public hearing.
Second?
Just a voice vote.
Just a what, sorry?
Voice vote.
Oh, yes.
Yay.
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 Anyone from the public like to speak on this? Come up, state your name. Way to be the first.
Get it over with. So my name's Christian Bledsacker. I live actually just west of the open land part of it.
Okay.
So our big concern is we're fine with the housing, we're fine with everything else. And then last night they threw in, they're going to put a pickleball court, 2 of them, right against the fence line, right on the outskirt of the whole development. So the problem with that is noise. I don't know if any of you are familiar with pickleball or anything like that, but pickleball, if you Google live by pickleball, my house will be built by pickleball, it's literally lawsuits, it's negative news articles, it's TV interviews, it's everything. It is terrible. Like, it can be heard from a half a mile away, the ding, 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 ding noise all day long. Just a little background on pickleball. So pickleball is actually 70 decibels at 100 feet. Me personally, I will be 5 feet from the pickleball court. 70 decibels is as loud as a freeway. So in my street, which is Tap Lane, which will be approximately 100 feet, because our lots are 100 feet, it will be a freeway noise of ping, ping, ping all day long, all week, for the rest of our lives. My question is, if you want a pickleball court, and there's no negative, no anything wrong with a pickleball court, they'll put in fences, they'll do whatever to make it quiet, it's not gonna be bad, is what we're gonna hear. Why isn't it in the middle of the subdivision? Like, why is it pushed all the way to the back of the open land, all the way to affect us? We're an existing house. I've lived there 14 years, and I'm gonna have a pickleball court in my backyard with lights above, and I was told they won't shine on my house, but how can a light that's 10, 12, 15 feet not shine in my house? The pickleball court is right there. Everyone in my street is going to hear the pickleball court. Basically, that's my thing, is if it's such a good thing, if it helps property values, if it helps this, I don't believe any of that. But if it actually does, why isn't it a centerpiece of their neighborhood? Why does it have to be our pickleball court that's not my pickleball court? That's pretty much everything. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Liz, can you pull up the subdivision, the proposed subdivision, just so we can kind of,
It's on the, where it says parcel C.
take the
There's a
remote.
land.
Right, where the extra parking is?
Yeah, where it says parcel C. Or A on there.
parcel A?
That's weird, it says C on mine.
Yeah, it says C on
Do
there.
you have the landscape plan? The landscape plan shows the pickleball court.
I didn't include it, but I can pull it up.
Is it in our packets?
It's not in the packet.
It's not.
Elizabeth, I can email it to you too. I have it. Give me just 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, to the west. There, done. There, phase 1.
Jacob, did you have an overall submittal for the landscape just for the?
There was one specifically just for the pickleball court, towards the bottom of the package, the civil package.
Maybe continue on.
Okay.
I will find it.
No, you're great.
I'll pull
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay.
Do you want to state your name for us?
Yeah, it's Jonathan Boss.
Okay.
So we had the meeting yesterday, and Mr. Ball said, great salesman, said that he was going to do us a favor and leave that green space there so we could have the views to the house. So what I would say to that is the green space, this is going to be the last part of the development where they're not going to hear all the noise until the pickleballs are then built, the pickleball courts are built. That is a big concern to us because it's going to create an echo chamber. They know this is going to be popular. That's why they're doing 2 pickleball courts. And with that being said, if you do the research, they say that there shouldn't be a pickleball court within 600 to 800 feet of a residence. This is going to be my neighbors. They're going to be 30 feet away. With that decibel being at 70 decibels, if you think of tennis, it's 15 to 20% louder than tennis. That's also the way that the courts are smaller. They hit the ball 4 to 5 times as much. So just think of that 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, just hitting at your windows. I would like to give an example of, if you guys know where Harmon's is, there's a new development, a couple years old, just to the east of it. That's where I used to live. They put a volleyball court in the middle of that community. Throughout the day and nights, high schoolers would show up 9 o'clock at night, turn on their lights, play volleyball, and all it would do was rattle your windows. It was so disturbing that we ended up having to move, and that's where we found our current house on Tap Lane. We love it. It's my sanctuary, and it's a super quiet neighborhood. And then to hear that this is going up and to say that it's in our favor when, once again, like, this is something that's meant for a park, not a small neighborhood. We're talking like a little plot of land. And then it's going to create this echo chamber that is then going to resonate. So when I was talking with my council, he said, hey, let's get an independent audio engineer to come out and measure the decibels before this goes in. So then that way we can show, if this is built, the pickleball court, we can show the damages it's done and then take action from there. I just think that for a small community to build something that's going to create a bunch of noise, it's not really necessary. If you're going to have a green space, let's put in a playground, something where the kids can play, it can be quiet, but it's not going to have people showing up at the crack of dawn and way late in the night. That's just going to be that tedious sound over and over and over. To what my neighbor said is, yes, if you Google pickleball noise, you will hear numerous cities with lawsuits because that noise travels. It's going to be in that echo chamber. It's going to get louder and louder and louder. And if you have 2 games going, it just magnifies. It's just something that I don't think a small little community needs when we can have other options to activate the property that isn't going to be a noise pollution. That's my thoughts on that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So is there a way to switch?
Yeah, can we have the applicant come back up real quick?
Yeah.
Is there a way to switch your 305, 304, and 303? Would that impact others as much?
Oh, I'm sure we can switch it. I mean, this is,
I mean, it's,
yeah,
I understand his concern. It is
Sure.
noisy.
sure. My intention of putting the open space against their property was sincerely to their benefit. The pickleball court, we have open space all over the place, and we have an area where we'll have volleyball. We have an area where we're going to have a playground area. We're not trying to like intentionally put it in an area that's out of our way. Everything, our house is around everything we're building. So switching it to the other side.
Is that going to do anything? I mean, is that really going to change? My concern is, will it change? It'll still impact everybody.
600 to 800 feet is where they say it should.
Okay, just a second. You have to.
Yeah, you have to come up if you want to state something.
Yeah.
So,
So I don't, as far as we're concerned, I don't think it's an issue moving it to the other side of the street. It doesn't.
I don't know that
it
that would
doesn't
help.
matter.
I'm just asking if
Yeah.
that's.
I don't know if it'll satisfy the neighbors or not. It doesn't matter to us. We're happy to do it.
What about the park? What about a park there? I mean, is that?
You already.
Yeah, we have
You've got one.
We have a playground, we have an open space, we have a volleyball area. So, I mean, part of the agreement with the city is to activate the open spaces. And so
Right.
this was a use, it's a popular use that we proposed. I don't know that we're going to hear, I'm not here to live and die on the pickleball courts. I think it's a cool space. People will love using it. If you're pickleball players, it'll be appreciated. And there are some things that we can do to mitigate it. So really the concerns with it are noise, light, hours of operation. Midvale City has ordinances where you can't use these courts except between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. We can control that. The courts are gated, are fenced. We can put a gate on it and use a key fob. Only residents there can use the key fob to access it. We can have lights on it. The lights will go off at 10 o'clock. So there's things we can do to mitigate that. We do have a landscape plan that has a dense row of trees between the pickleball court and the western neighbors. But to the neighbor's point, we're not going to mitigate everything. You're going to hear the ball.
Sure.
There's a pickleball court, 2 in my neighborhood. They're very close to me. I work from home inside my house. I never hear them. They're not an issue. But my home's pretty airtight. I don't get a lot of noise from outside. So I don't know. It's a real issue. I don't want to discount that. We've done everything we could to try to mitigate the issues. But it's just the reality of activating an open space.
Right.
We have open spaces so that people can use them and do cool stuff in them. And unfortunately, people make noise, whatever they're doing.
Exactly.
And so it's just part of the reality of having an open space. But so here's the landscape plan that we proposed in our package. We do have 2 courts there. It wouldn't be a problem to go to 1. I think that's not an issue for us. There's just a lot of homes there, so we intentionally did 2.
Sure.
But if there's just 1, it'd be fine. And you can see the row of trees to the west between the property line and the courts. So and there's parking to accommodate people using it. So anyway,
Okay, thank you.
so that's
I
kind of,
appreciate that.
all right, you're welcome.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Madison Smith. I guess primarily our concern is that this is not a private, single-family pickleball court. This is something that, I mean, I don't know the exact number of homes in the area, but potentially 50 individual families have access to from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's a large part of the day. I know that we have little kids in our neighborhood that have bedtimes well before 10 p.m. I personally work from home all day. My window would be right outside this noise, and being on the phones with clients, I've had experience where it's like, what is that? And it's extremely frustrating. So again, our research in this is that they should not be within 600 to 800 feet of a residential area. So we'd really love that considered. So thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there any way to blow that up?
Yeah. You want to just keep zooming?
One question that came up.
Sorry, can you state your name one more
Yeah,
time?
Jonathan Voss. So he mentioned that they'd put in a gate. Are we talking about like an 8-foot gate, a 10-foot gate, or are we talking about like a 3-foot gate? Because that's one of the things that if it's a small gate, people will hop over. The fob's not going to do anything. And once again, we're talking about, yes, you might have them in your neighborhood, but do you know how many feet away they are from your neighborhood or your house?
I have one 20 feet out my back window.
Well, that's your private one.
Oh, cool.
So he has a private pickleball court, according to Google Maps. That's different when you're the one that owns it and you're out there. So 20 feet away, that's different. When we're talking about a community involved, and you told us with Garbett Homes how you pride yourselves on not impacting the community, I do think that that is something that we need to make sure. This isn't a negotiation to be like, hey, can we meet halfway? I just think it's unnecessary to have something that is that loud and intrusive, especially when, people start to go to bed at 9 o'clock. I'm one of them. Like, I got to wake up for work at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to hear that knocking on your window of someone going back and forth. Once again, where it amplifies because we're in an echolocation chamber of it just rattling off the houses and sending it out to our neighborhood. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Do we have anyone else from the neighborhoods?
I move that we close the public hearing.
I second.
We need a roll call. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes?
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
So I have a comment. I would be curious to know what the neighbors would want instead in this open space. I think open space is very vital to the community. And if there's already a playground and there's going to be a volleyball court, what else? I mean, I think basketball is noisier than a pickleball court. I live close to a pickleball court, and I'm right by Midvale City Park. It doesn't bother me. And I live in an older home that doesn't have great windows, and so I am susceptible to the noise. So I'm just curious to know what the neighborhood would like to see there. The public hearing's closed, so,
Right.
so I'm just making a comment that it doesn't, we pride ourselves as a planning and zoning commission and as a city to have open space. Midvale doesn't have a lot of open space, and so when we have the opportunity to have some, I think it's important to make sure that it's community space that's gonna be used.
I agree. I mean, like you say, it's, our community is such that any open space is vital.
Yeah, we don't have a lot.
And like you say, what else could there be? If you've got a park, if you've got, you know, even if you put a basketball court there, that's gonna be worse than a pickleball by far. But
Well,
we're
and
that's
just
just a
talking
comment.
amongst ourselves, so.
I also think,
Garrett?
Hey, Garrett, quick question. Can we bring the applicant back up, or do we need to reopen things?
So, yeah. So the applicant's portion is not part of the public
Okay.
comment.
Do
It's
you want to
part
come
of
back
the
up one more time?
presentation.
Sorry. On the turf and grass,
Yeah.
what if we put that along the west fence as a buffer zone?
Yeah, I mean, we can make some tweaks. There, at the very top of the plan, there is a hammerhead, a turnaround.
Oh, the parking?
Yeah, no, not the parking.
The dead end.
Oh, yeah.
At the very top, that's the turnaround. So we looked at that, we tried to do it, and this is the only way we could really make it fit with 2 courts.
Oh, could you?
If we eliminated one of the courts, we can certainly move the court closer to the parking and further away from the property line. So, and there's some things we can do that. We're honestly, we're pretty amenable. So, anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I appreciate that you're not
Yeah.
hard-nosed about
Yeah.
it. It's not right. I mean.
Yeah, and reality, I don't even think this is an issue for tonight. This is
Right.
not part of the agenda. I mean, it's
Right.
not, we're not getting approved for a pickleball court and landscape plan. So this can all certainly be addressed another time. It's really the zone change. And I don't, the good thing is, I don't think the neighbors have expressed opposition to the zone change, just the use or the activation of the
Right.
common
Okay.
space.
Thanks.
So to go along with Commissioner Tippett's, just talking about other amenities that are possible. I know in some other developments, the green space has been activated with something like a gazebo where you could have like a birthday party or something like that. There's still noise, there's still impact to everyone. I think the applicant was very clear that anything you do is going to impact, and you're not always going to be happy. But investigating other amenities that could go in, I think is a very strong, it's a very nice thing to do with neighbors. But like you said, we're not discussing that now. We're discussing other issues tonight.
see, I mean, that's not the issue here, but my doctor is right next to Murray City pickleball courts, and I was sitting out in the parking lot waiting, and I watched them, and I don't remember much noise at all. So my experience is different than what you're explaining, and so, but again, the idea of just having a nice little grassy area seems a little bit of a wasted space, just a nice place to water, but people don't always use them except for to let their dogs out and do their thing. And so I like the idea of it a usable space on things that people would like, so.
So Garrett, where are we with this?
So Elizabeth is going to walk you through
Okay.
all the different things that are happening tonight. The first decision or the first motion we're asking you to make is going to be whether or
zone.
not to recommend a rezone to the city
Okay.
council for
Okay.
them to consider. All of the other decisions that you'll be making tonight are administrative, and they're
Got
going to be conditional based on the city council approving the rezone.
Okay.
So the large-scale master plan, the small-scale master plan, the preliminary plat, conditional use permit
Okay.
will all generally be administrative decisions that you're saying, does this meet the qualifications for our code? If they do, you have to approve it. If they don't, then you have to look for what ways those issues can be remedied. And only if those can't be remedied can you deny it. So the
Got you.
4 decisions that you're making after that will all be conditional on that rezone happening. If the rezone doesn't happen, then those can't be approved.
Got you. Thanks.
You want to walk us through
I mean, I'll just dial you through them on the
Put 'em in.
screen, but
Put 'em
yeah,
in.
if you have any questions, we're happy to answer.
I'm willing to make a motion on the rezone. I move that we recommend approval of the rezone for the Midvale Mills Phase 3 located at approximately 208 through 228 East, 80th South, consistent with the findings included in the staff report.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Next.
Next up is item 3.
Wait, no.
Oh, sorry, more
Sorry,
motions to go.
Elizabeth.
Oh,
So
yeah,
this
sorry.
will be for the amended large
I
scale
forgot
to
we got
include
3.
everything, including, and we've included conditions that make it contingent on the rezone passing and the development agreement.
Got you.
Okay.
So once again, we're just voting on the rezone. We're not
already
doing
did
all
the
this
rezone.
other,
You are making recommendations and making motions conditioned on the rezone being
Right.
approved by the council.
okay, got
So
you,
you've made the motion on the rezone, now you're making.
got you, okay.
Well, and the large scale is more broad where they have to meet those open
Right.
space percentages and things like that. It doesn't iron out those details that we were discussing with like the pickleball court and things like that. Garrett can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you could condition that on the small scale when we come
Got
later,
you.
that
Okay,
we maybe
okay, got you.
explore other options. Whoa, double
I
check.
just want to make sure.
Yeah, we're
He's like, thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
up
by the
again.
way, welcome to our new attorney.
Thank you, glad to be here.
I'll go ahead and make a motion. I move that we recommend approval of the amended large-scale master plan for the Midvale Mills consistent with the findings included in the staff report and with the following conditions. 1, the rezone is approved by City Council, and 2, the amended development agreement is approved by City Council.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
So do we have one more?
Next.
2 more.
2 more?
Oh, sorry,
Nope, you're good.
conferring.
Conditional use.
Yeah, for the amended, for the entirety of the project.
Who's up?
I'll do it. I move that we approve the amended conditional use permit for the Midvale Mills project consistent with the findings included in the staff report and with the following conditions. 1, the rezone is approved by City Council. 2, the amended development agreement is approved by City Council.
Second?
Oh, it's been moved and seconded. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
And the final one? Who's been quiet tonight?
So is this approving the pickleball courts and everything, or?
So the project does still go to a site plan that really irons out all the details. So even the small scale, I don't know that it can really,
This is more the percentage of open space.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion. I move that we approve the small-scale master plan for the Midvale Mills Phase 2 and 3 consistent with the findings included in the staff report and with the following conditions. 1, the rezone is approved by City Council. 2, the amended development agreement is approved by City Council.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
And that moves on to City Council. Do we know when that will go? Do we have any idea when that's going to go to City Council?
It will go the second meeting in February.
Yeah, the
I believe. We
normal-
haven't noticed for it yet. We'll
Yeah.
notice for after this
The,
meeting.
the normal turnaround is, you are looking at about a month.
Okay.
So basically, it goes to city council. And then you can iron out the logistics. You've got to have a certain amount of green space. You've got to have, according to the city. So it's not all final. We just have to approve those things to rezone. We're not going to approve whether it has a pickleball or not tonight, and I don't know that we will. So, I mean, this just is a small step moving forward.
Although they may have to change the name of the street from Pickle Drive.
Yeah.
Just saying.
They may.
One thing, thank you
Just so
for,
you understand that's
thank you
not-
for your comments and
Yeah,
attending
definitely.
tonight. And thank you to the developer for listening and taking into consideration people's feelings and thoughts. We appreciate all of you.
I'm so sorry, you do have one more motion for the preliminary subdivision. My
Okay.
remote.
Look at us.
I thought you made it through when you did it. I'm
I'll
sorry.
I'll
This
go
is
ahead.
the last one.
I will make this motion.
Okay.
I move that we recommend approval of the preliminary subdivision for the Midvale Mills Phase 2 and 3, consistent with the findings included in the staff report and with the following conditions. 1, the rezone is approved by City Council. 2, the amended development agreement is approved by City Council.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett.
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Now are we done?
That's really it for me. Thank you.
Are we
Okay.
done yet?
All right. Item 3, Gardner Jordan Bluffs LC requests large-scale master plan approval for a multifamily development in the area of Bingham Junction Boulevard and Ivy Drive. Adam?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Planning Commission members. This is the large-scale master plan proposal for what's called View 78. It's located at the intersection, kind of that southeast quadrant of Ivy Drive and Bingham Junction Boulevard. This is located in what's called the Jordan Bluffs zone. It's also known as sub-areas 1 through 3. Any project in this particular zone requires a large-scale master plan before any further development applications are considered. In addition, it also requires a development agreement to be approved by the City Council. You'll notice later on in the presentation, in your reports, and in any motion for a recommendation of approval that development agreement be approved. So it would be conditioned on any approval of that. So there has a draft development agreement is under review, and so we are anticipating that will move forward to council potentially when this also does. But if it's bifurcated and bisected, it's not going to kill the project or anything. So View 78, what I'm showing here, this is kind of the overall site, how it ties in with properties that are both developed and undeveloped. Everything to the west and north is currently undeveloped. The property to the north does have a large-scale master plan approval. It's with Wasatch Development. That received approval maybe a year and a half or so ago for more multifamily. That would be more of, I think, a townhome type of project. Directly to the south, there's a development with Homes. That first phase is largely built out. And to the west and northwest will be future development, which will include mixed-use elements of retail, residential, office, and whatnot. You can see directly to the west of this site, there is an extension, or there will be a green space, large park area that will also provide access to the Jordan River Parkway, which is a little further to the west and off the hill. View 78 itself, this is kind of zooming in a little bit. There are a total of 607 units on about 27 acres, and so that comes out to about 22.5 units per acre density. Upon approval of a large-scale master plan, then the applicant will proceed to site plan reviews, which is where we'll look in greater detail and depth at the particulars, kind of the fine grain of the site, and make sure that those particulars are met in the code. Again, we're taking a kind of a higher level view right now, and then we're going to drill down into details with further submittals. The code does outline approval requirements or submittal requirements for a large-scale master plan. That is found in section 17.7, 10, 12.4. There is a number of items that are required to consider a large-scale master plan approval. I'll just highlight on a couple of those. This is an overall landscaping plan, just kind of showing how the site ties in with the park area directly to the west. The green space along Bingham Junction Boulevard. There's a larger green space to the southeast, which will include a dog park. And that is kind of the top of that hill area. And so you'll have, we'll have kind of a good view of the kind of southeast portion of the valley. You may recall that they did come before you and the city council in a work session to discuss a previous plan. This is kind of the second iteration of that plan. One of the concerns that was brought up was that at that time, there was parking in between Bingham Junction and the buildings. What they've done is they've tried to internalize that parking and bring the buildings closer to the road to create just a more visually appealing landscape, if you will. So that's what one of the changes here is they've tried to incorporate those comments, push those buildings to the north, to the west, and then break up what they could, the interior parking. There's not as large of parking fields between, let's say, buildings 6 and 7 and 4 and 5 as there was before. So they're really trying to condense it, if you will, and bring those together. This is the overall site plan. Again, this is just kind of the same, what you saw before, it's just that landscaping is not highlighted. You can see the circulation pattern. There are access points off both Ivy Drive and Bingham Junction Boulevard, and an internal circulation network you will be able to get from Ivy Drive to down to Bingham Junction. There is, I don't know if the highlighter works, but let's see if this does it. Yeah, kind of from here on down, you can make that connection. Guess I could have talked about that now. This is the circulation plan showing how you can get to those points A, B, and C. They're also showing pedestrian circulation, bicycle circulation, and then obviously vehicle. So there will be points of access for pedestrian circulation to access the park area to the west. Probably the main one will be up here at the northwest corner because this is a signalized intersection and does provide safe and protected pedestrian access into that park area. In addition, you'll notice they kind of have an open area running northwest to southeast, running directly from the amenities and large central green space off to the northwest and the extension of that park. And then again, access down to this open area to the southeast that provides open space, a proposed dog park, and then what I anticipate is some pretty amazing views off to that area. If you've ever been on that hill, it does have some pretty cool views up there. This is a phasing plan, how they intend to phase the project. So they anticipate 3 phases. The blue is the first phase, which does include the amenities center and the large central green space. And then the remainder are through 2 additional phases. They do propose a fairly aggressive phasing plan. They would like to have this built out in the next 3 to 4 years, which for a project this size is fairly aggressive, but they feel they can do that. This is a perspective rendering. This is if you're looking from the northwest, looking southeast at that intersection of Bingham Junction and Ivy. So Bingham Junction is this road right here, and then Ivy is on this side. So this is kind of that green area on the northwest entry, and the larger city park will be just across the street here. again, this is just intended to show kind of how it will look on the ground rather than just a straight down schematic. One thing I would like to touch on that I did not yet, it's just as well to show the site plan. They've submitted a parking study. They do propose sufficient parking for the units. What they are asking consideration for is a reduction of 19 spaces for visitor parking. They provided a parking study that supports the reduction. I've looked over this, and the code allows the community development director to make a finding and present a finding to the planning commission in support or denial of that. I'm recommending that that also be approved. I believe with sufficient parking for the units that with over 1,100 parking stalls, a reduction of 19 guest stalls, I do not feel is going to negatively impact the project. I feel that it's still going to be fine. The parking field is so vast as it is. Personally, I like to see more green space, and if that means a reduction that's supported through a parking study of 19 spaces for guests, I can support that, and I would ask your consideration on that as well.
Is there any available street parking?
No.
On Ivy Drive or anything?
No, we're not including any kind of street parking on these roads.
But can they park on
Definitely
Ivy
not on
Drive?
Bingham Junction,
Yeah,
and
not
I
on-
don't believe on Ivy as well. People may try to, but we're not including that in any of the parking calculations, and my understanding is right now it would not be allowed.
Okay.
So with that, I'm offering these findings to the Planning Commission for consideration. You'll see this last finding here, oops, wrong way. That the parking reduction of 19 guest stalls is supported by a parking study provided by the applicant. And I'd also like to call out that if this parking reduction is approved by both bodies, that it will be called out in the development agreement so that there's a firm acknowledgement of that.
How many parking guest stalls do they have dedicated?
I can look that up really quick.
It's on there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I can also find that for you. I had the numbers in my head earlier, but I know I'd mess it up if I tried to go off memory.
Just looking at it. I seriously was.
Oh, maybe it was in the parking study, and I have that too. Oh, okay. So we would provide 134. Okay, so basically 134 would be provided. The code would require basically 151 too. So it's just a reduction of that 19 is all.
Okay.
So, yeah. And again, my main consideration is that they have sufficient for the units themselves, which we consistently hear that there may not be enough in other projects, especially when that in other areas of the city, this does provide all of that parking for the units. They're not asking for any reduction in the number of stalls for the units themselves. So.
Not to diss on a neighboring city, but Sandy struggles with their parking in these larger these.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that there's parking here.
Yeah, if the request was even for 20 or so, we feel that we have sufficient for the number of units. We want to reduce the unit parking. That would be a lot harder of a call to make for me. So
The wiggle room goes up with the more units. I mean, as far as utilization of all the stalls per unit.
yeah, I mean the chances of every one of those people having guests at the same time is fairly small. I mean, it could happen, but
Sure.
when
mean
you
Christmas?
yeah, when you look at these, when you look at the parking field, I mean, there's just such vast areas that I think the guest parking spaces interspersed throughout there, I think you're going to be okay.
Parking at all?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe there's any covered parking.
Okay.
Or is it all open? Okay, there will be parking canopies in locations. Those will definitely be for
Right.
not for the whole thing.
No, I realize that.
Okay, so every unit will have at least one. Will have one covered, but the remaining open stalls do account for those unit counts.
Okay.
So.
Thanks.
And again, the condition that I'm asking for consideration is that any approval be conditioned on approval of a development agreement by the city council. And that's included in the motion. And we can come back to the motion if we need to. The applicants are here to answer any questions, and we can as staff as well. So.
Thank you. The applicant like to come on? Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah. If you want to just move through these at all, just
Oh, yeah,
it's
that
that
makes
one.
sense.
So you don't
Just
need
leave this here.
to load your own.
Okay.
if you don't want. So are,
Hi, thanks for your time this evening. The plan.
Sorry, can we give me your name real quick?
Oh, I'm Liza Hart with Gardner.
Okay.
And the plan that we presented at the working session, we haven't changed it at all since then. So just for whatever that's worth, it's the same. And I'm just happy to answer any questions that you have.
Do you have any garage parking at all?
No.
It's all carport.
Right.
One carport per unit, and
Yes.
then uncovered parking for whoever.
Yes.
Now, is it assigned? I imagine the carport parking will be assigned,
Yes.
but the other parking is that first come, first serve. Okay. Which makes me feel comfortable with the reduction in the parking, because the guests and the residents can fight over those extra spots.
That's
you
right.
know. And so that, I like that the parking is on the outside on the southeast, because those condos down below are not going to have these massive buildings looking down on them. So it'll give them distance. So I really like that, because I think, and then plus you've got that open area, but I think that'll, will not detract from what's existing there. And I really like that. And I really love that you've connected the park area. And I like the looks of these buildings with this plan than they were.
Oh, good. That's
Than
great
last
to
time.
hear. That's great
So.
to hear.
I'm gonna have to disagree a little bit with Shane
Okay.
about the look. I mean, I'm glad, like, you know, that walkthrough and everything. My whole thing, I have two things. One, where do these people go for dinner? I mean, that's my biggest thing, is let's build something for that. My second thing is I feel like I'm going to Salt Lake Community College as I'm looking at those buildings, and that's a little disappointing to me. It doesn't mean anything, I mean, as far as, you know, obviously passing stuff, but I'm disappointed in, I'd like it to not look so college. I feel like I'm,
Yes.
you know, on a college campus, like, oh, where's my next class, is how it feels to me as I look at the picture. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but I appreciate all the other things. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
It's a
does make
little-
sense.
I-
Yes, I
A little
hear
hard for me
you.
to do that.
I hear you. One thing to keep in
I just think it could
mind.
be, with as many as you're building, I think it could look just
Yes.
really stellar,
Keep
and
it-
not like the Salt Lake Community College. That's my.
I
that-
hear
really,
you. I
feel
hear
like
you.
that.
Yep,
You're gonna have to
that's-
put signs up that said this is, you know.
The one thing that we did talk about, though, is as far as dining and stuff, is that
I know.
they brought in that the master plan that they would add more
Yeah,
storefront, and on this, you can't have storefront on Bingham Junction,
no.
and so it's kind of limited on adding storefront type products. The one thing along the lines of it's, I don't know how to describe the look of it. What do you do you describe the look, the design of this, the outside?
They're modern. I
Modern.
would describe them as being modern. I will, if I may, say that the four buildings to the south, these aren't being done all at once, so those aren't designed. So when we present our site plan submittal, when we submit that, that will be for the portion of the project that we're working on, and we'll be submitting permit construction documents for. So those are the buildings where we'll get really detailed in what the buildings look like. And the buildings
the 4 buildings to the south, they haven't been designed yet. So if you consider that perspective view, even though there's the crux of modern rendering software is it looks really like baked when it still actually hasn't really been designed yet. So the goal, we agree, we would love to have more variation, less repetition, and that's our objective as well. So I think, Commissioner Anderson, you'll find as we submit these subsequent phases that we'll really have gone a long way to address those things. And then to the point about the restaurant, we would also love to have mixed use everywhere. The secret to having successful, vibrant mixed use areas is to get a critical mass in a certain area. And because of our master plan for the entire Jordan Bluffs development, we don't want to dilute that energy and spread it out, because we would end up with vacant spaces, which is helpful for animating like the ground plane. And it doesn't help with what we were trying to do by pushing the buildings out to the street, was to create kind of a streetscape. So that as the pedestrian experience, you have that relationship to the buildings and you're not separated by a parking area. So, you know.
I love that you're building the amenities in the first phase, because down below, they have no amenities, and it's a little bit of a sore spot, because those will be built out across the street, and you know, with the way the market is now, who knows how many years that will be. So I really like that. The other thing with the modern design, to me, it matches what's been built south of you. In fact, I'd say it's better than what is developed south of you. No offense to anybody, but I think it's better. No, not. But to the developers, I just think it fits that modern look to those condos down south. But I think it's a step up from that design. So.
Here, I'll scroll to the. Oh, is it not?
But it is a large project.
Not in this. Yeah, I just put the main. You put the main. Okay, we had some individual building elevations, and I agree with you.
And they have those in the packet.
Yeah, they're
I like the buildings as well, so I'm really glad that you do. But I also take to heart the point about the repetition and maintaining the same visual language, but within that language creating variety of texture and that is the goal, I can assure you.
Yeah, I think with this look, it's just so uniform that if there's different colors, different textures and stuff, it would really break that up so it's not so stark.
Yep, absolutely.
But I'm happy with what you've done.
Thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I'm just happy there's going to be a dog park.
It looks like
You and your dogs.
Courts.
Yeah, there's 2 pickleball
You know what?
courts.
They make noise, but
Can I
it's
just
a
add
dog
really
park.
quick? This is Mark with the Gardner Company, 201 South Main Street.
Mark
Adam,
knows how I feel about the dog park.
I know, you like them. And I locked and loaded up here, just so you know. Locked and loaded.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, Adam has been on so many meetings with this, and he has done a really great job. And we just want to tell you, we're a big fan of Adam, and it's been a lot of collaboration to get to this point. So we just want to say thank you. No, he's awesome. So, yeah, he's great. So just thank you very much.
We'll put up with him.
Yeah.
Wait, almost.
Let's open the public hearing.
I move that we open the public hearing.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Now
sorry.
you can come up.
Now you can come up.
All these technical
State
things
your
we
name.
have to do.
So my name is Wayne Bassam, and first of all, I want to thank you guys for sending me this, the flyer. Although I do walk that Boulevard and Ivy Lane a couple times a week. I do see the notices that are put out there. I also noticed that this is 670 units. Is that correct?
607.
Oh, 7, okay, I didn't hear that correctly. Okay, so 607 units. That's almost another additional 800 to 900 vehicles. And the Bingham Freeway right there, that goes up and down the road, it has basically cars that are speeding on that constantly all days of the, 24 hours a day. And occasionally there's deer that come up from Jordan River and come across. Luckily, none of them have been hit. You have a development that's going to the west. From what I understand, it's kind of hard to find out for sure what that is, but that's another 800 units, with another 1,600 units before you get to the park. And now you're going to add another 600 units to that area. So now you're looking at not just 800 to 900 cars. Now you're going to get into the 2,500 cars on an average. I think that you need to incorporate in your plans better lighting that they have right now, speed bumps of some sort to slow down the cars so somebody doesn't get hit, or when these little cars with the loud pipes, if you have one of those, I apologize, but they use it as a raceway. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't think that their parking that they have in this particular development is adequate, because I live in Jordan Bluffs condos. And even though you approved that development with that spacing for those condos, it's not enough, even though we have garages with the amount of people who come and visit out of the 80 units that are built right now. Yes, to your point, I'm really frustrated that the amenities wasn't built first, because you're right, it may be 2 or 3 years before we actually see the amenities and that we're paying for that we'll never probably see. Which then brings up another point. If you're doing 800, 1,600, 600 more units, and the economy has gone down, are we going to start another project that's going to be start and stopped and then not completed? I mean, I know the condo world is a little bit different than the apartment world, but still, I mean, it's a lot of bodies to stick in that section of the land. And I don't know if the economy is ready for that. I mean, it looks like a great project, but if you approve this one, have you already approved the ones across the street to the west? Because originally, this right here was going to be a hotel, from our understanding. That corner lot was going to be a hotel. And that was one of the reasons why we looked at buying one of those condos, is because it'd be a great place to have people come stay. And, you know, if you get like multiple family events and whatnot, where the condos would, I mean, the apartments would take away that. So I guess I'm just saying that as an owner down there, we need to slow down the cars. I don't think there's adequate enough parking. I think there's too many buildings that are going to be compressed in one area, and it's going to cause discontent. You like dogs? I like deer. I like animals. I mean, all those are going to be shoved away, even though we do have a small raccoon and a small skunk problem. But you know, that's here nor there. But I just think that you're pushing too many residential developments in one space. And if it was a hotel, I think it'd add more value than it would be as an apartment complex. So I think it's a great design. I just think you need more parking. And I think it needs to be, if you approve this, you need to not approve the stuff to the west. If you've already approved the stuff to the west, then maybe don't approve the one to the east. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
I move that we close the public meeting.
Seeing no other public comments, yes, let's close the public hearing.
Roll call.
Chair Snow,
Yes.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Public hearing is closed.
Garrett, anything?
So the large-scale master plan is an administrative decision. So if you find that the Gardner Company has met the requirements found in our ordinance, you do have to approve this. Probably leave it there since it feels a little bit repetitive since we just had this conversation on the last item.
Like the motion.
Do we have two motions on this? One for the parking and just one?
Yeah, the finding itself, the parking is in a finding.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the condition is that the development agreement be approved by council. Or this approval is contingent on that. So.
Okay.
Okay. Pull us up our motion, will you? So I can read it.
You guys need to start bringing laptops.
Well, if I had one. Thanks. I move that we recommend approval of the large-scale master plan for View 78 with the findings and condition noted in the staff report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we get a roll call?
Chair Snow,
Yes, sorry.
Vice Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Tippett,
Yes.
Commissioner Leckie,
Yes.
Commissioner Erickson.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. We'll send a recommendation to council.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Give me a restaurant in there.
Well,
That's the plan.
there is the section that they're gonna do mixed
know.
use.
Right.
So it's, you gotta have people to use mixed use before you can put in mixed use.
We agree. Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Great night.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Staff updates and other business. You're in charge now.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, it's I guess my turn to say something.
Yay.
You're so quiet.
I was just trying to give all of you enough room.
Don't give us too much room.
Yeah.
We like to give us enough rope, we'll hang ourselves right now.
No, please don't. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I've noticed these chairs are a lot comfier than over there. So
It's a perk.
yes, that is a perk. And I just wanted to let you know that, as staff, and I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone, that we all enjoy working with you and that we are very thankful for you as a planning commission. Otherwise, we have had a few projects that have been turned in. There's a car lot on State Street that's working itself through the system. And it's
What does that mean, Gabby?
Another car lot.
This is not car repair.
And we have an expansion of a commercial building on North Union. It's the film studio.
I saw that noticed. Yeah.
Where's that at?
Where is it?
By Raising Cane's.
Yeah, it's sort
Oh,
of
the one that's already
behind
been
it.
there?
Yeah.
Yes.
It used to be the Azevedo. I don't
Right,
know if it's
right.
now.
Yeah, it's now named Jeff Hayes Film Studio. Then, and you probably know about this, the city is working on a study for Main Street, an urban design study, and we are also working on station area plans. The study for the Bingham Junction station area is already underway. We've had several meetings with the consultants, and then the other remaining track stations on Center Street and the Fort Union station on 72nd South. That's coming up fairly soon.
Okay.
Has council seen that yet?
No, it's that's still going to be several months. I mean, they have been updated, and they have been the consultant just started to get some interviews, just basically input from the council. But that's a longer study.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Welcome, Wendelin.
Yay!
Okay, anyone want to adjourn?
I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 7:35.
Oh, no.
No.
No, it's 7:12.
Oh, 7:12.
Yep.
Sorry.
We could just stay.
You want us to stay here for how long?
I'd like to
Big
adjourn the
hand,
meeting
little
at
hand.
7:12. Okay, you look at that.
There is an extra hand.
There's an extra hand on there.
The
Is
second,
that your alarm?
It's just long hands. It's the tail.
Doesn't that look weird? Okay, listen, I've been on a cruise for days. I'm a little rummy.
That's quite the excuse.
one should be ticking.
True that.